Hey everyone, welcome back to Ideas That Shape the World. And this is the Stress Relief and Strategy series. I'm so excited about this series because, as you know, this year has been crazy. And because it's been so crazy, the level of stress, the level of, fear, the level of anxiety, everything is at a high rate for a lot of people right now, especially entrepreneurs, because not only are you dealing with the personal things with COVID, with protests, with all of these things, but you're also dealing with your business and how to stay sound minded while you're running a business. And so I thought that this series was so important so that you could understand how to manage your stress properly and then come up with a strategy to not only win emotionally, mentally, but also win in your business as well. And so I'm super excited today about my guest. I have known her now for a couple of months, but her calling and her what she does to help other people to be able to thrive in their lives is amazing. So I'm going to introduce you to Miriam Wilson. She was born in South Africa, a country in Southern Africa. Dr. Miriam Knight Wilson is the daughter of missionaries in Lesotho and the wife of Pastor Benjamin Wilson. Together, they serve as pastors at Liberation Church in Cleveland, Ohio. Miriam is a clinical psychologist as well as a certified John Maxwell coach, trainer, and speaker. Miriam has a heart for seeing people of various backgrounds overcome the obstacles that stand in the way of them living out their God-given destiny and is constantly seeking ways to find and draw out the gift and calling of all those in whom she comes in contact. Miriam grew up working with youth and children and serving in the creating arts and worship ministry at Joy to the World Ministries from a very young age, and discovered a desire to help people overcome seemingly insurmountable obstacles to achieve their purpose in life through unconventional methods, including music and the arts. Over the years, Miriam has worked with organizations such as World Vision International and UNICEF in Africa to relieve poverty through social protection and community development projects. She has worked as a high school teacher, a trainer, a mentor, a counselor, a therapist, and a coach, in training and developing individuals both within the secular and Christian ministry sectors. She's a passionate worshiper and minister of the gospel and is currently also working as a clinical psychologist in community mental health, serving children, adolescents, and their families in Cleveland, Ohio. Welcome, Miriam. I'm so happy to have you here.
Yay, I'm excited to be here. Thank you so much for having me. It is an honor and a privilege to be a part of this and to be able to serve in this way.
Oh, yes. I'm so grateful to have you here. I really wanted to have someone who does have the background in, psychology and not only psychology from, helping people with their mental and emotional health, but also from a spiritual perspective too, because they all work hand in hand. And so I'm really glad that you were able to come on with us today, Dr. Miriam, and be able to help us work through what's going on in 2020.
Man, it's been a year.
It has been a year. And so I just want to start off by asking you, why is it so important for people to have their mental health in the healthiest space right now with everything going on?
So, my opinion is that it's really important. I think 2020 has been one of the years that we kind of got hit from every side.
Yes.
A lot of us go through trauma. Trauma is something that's not like it happens in life. One way or another, each one of us has some kind of loss or experience that we've been through that has been traumatic for us. But this year has been different in the sense of it's not just been one or two people at a time going through something. It's been the whole entire world going through something unexpected, something that we've never seen before, something we don't even know how to deal with, something that is totally beyond our control. And in experiencing that, being able to manage that and be emotionally and mentally healthy it's not just for us, but it's also for the generations to come, that it's so critical for us to understand that what we are producing, what we're creating in this season and in this time cannot come from a place of anxiety. It cannot come from a place of depression. It cannot come from a place of anger, because what we're creating and what we're developing and what we're pouring back into the universe, if it's negative, if it's unhealthy, that's what's going to perpetuate for generations to come. It's a seed planted, not just for now, but it is for generations to come. A lot of what we're seeing, what we're experiencing right now, is the result of a seed that somebody planted. So it's very important, especially as entrepreneurs, to be really mindful of what we're creating and what we're producing in this season. It hasn't just been a crisis that's come on the front of business, but a lot of business owners, a lot of entrepreneurs, especially for those that have been working from home even before this, it's like your business world or your office, which was your home, got invaded by everybody else. It used to be your space, and now your family, your spouse, your children, everybody's there. So it's no longer your space, it's our space. Our whole entire existence has been shaken at so many different levels that it's so important for us to actually process what we're experiencing so that we're able to create from a healthy space.
Absolutely. And a lot of what you said is just so true, whereas we've created some sense of normalcy for ourselves, or, to the best of our ability, create some type of normalcy for ourselves and our homes and our businesses and all of that. And, we kind of get comfortable in that. That we know what we're doing, we kind of know what to expect. And even with the unexpected, we know how to manage it. But with this, it was like anything that could happen happened. And then the unexpected happened. And I know there were like memes going around. It's like, okay, well, what are we going to get for July? Is like a UFO going to come out the sky next, because we don't know what to expect from this point, from the world getting shut down. I think it didn't really hit me because I'm fully because I am more of an introvert. So 80% of the time I'm in the house anyway. So it didn't really bother me being in the house, but then it started bothering me like, okay, well, I can't leave when I want to leave. Yeah. And then when I went out in public, it's like the long lines and the mask, and I'm a smiley person. I smile at people when I go in places, and it's like no one can see my smile now because I'm in a mask. The human interaction to be able to, when I do want to go out my 20% of the time and connect with people and hug and all of that, all of those things are diminished because of this pandemic, because of, everything that's just going on, all the things that are causing all these stress-filled situations. And so what have you seen, or how have you seen this affect people in a mental or emotional way? Like, what toll have you seen this take on people right now?
So under normal circumstances, when you experience stress or trauma, we respond in three ways. And a lot of us know this. We're familiar with the 3 stress responses, which is fight or flight or freeze. I've seen that a lot over the last couple of months, but I've seen it magnified and multiplied. Most especially because the trauma or these experiences are just on so many levels and not just in one area. And when you think about I've seen it, so I work a lot with children, and I've experienced just a lot of anger and a lot of frustration. I remember one kid saying to me, before, being home used to be like not having to go to school was, yay, I get to stay home today. I can watch all my shows and play Fortnite all day. And but now it was like, but I've been playing Fortnite for 5 months, and I've been doing the things that we would normally feel as luxuries, as good experiences, have now developed a negative stigma associated with it. The things that used to bring us relief are no longer relief. Like you said, like you don't have control over this anymore. And that sense of not having control can bring a sense of helplessness and hopelessness. It can bring frustration. It can bring a lot of anger. Talking to some of my clients over the last couple of weeks is I'm angry, I'm frustrated, I'm snapping at everybody, I'm reacting and I'm reactive to every situation. I'm irritable. I'm annoyed over things that wouldn't normally annoy me because, again, my whole world has been shook and there's people in my space constantly. I don't have a moment to breathe because everyone's home. There is some normalcy kind of coming back as people start going back to work and things start resuming and opening up, but there's still fear. And when there's fear and there's anxiety, again, your senses are so heightened to everything. It's easy to misperceive what people are doing and interpret it as a threat instead of seeing as I was preparing for this, something that kept coming to my mind is it's not just us going through the process, it's the other person too. So you have two people experiencing this crisis and this trauma, and they're both in the same space responding together. So it's like a tiger and a tiger, caged, wounded tiger, two tigers in a room, sometimes 4 or 5 in the room, and they're all responding from that place of anxiety and that place of depression and that place of anger and feeling like I'm not in control of anything. I don't get to choose anymore. And that can become explosive. For some of us, those things that we used to use as coping strategies, like avoiding things, we can't avoid them, whether it was in a marriage or a romantic relationship where you guys weren't getting along that well. And so your strategy was to avoid, work all day, come home, put the kids to bed, and then just do that cycle every day. Now you're faced with looking at this person, dealing with this person 24/7, and the things that we have for so long shoved under the carpet, we can't shove under the carpet for anymore because we've had to confront situations. And then it's one thing when you get to choose that I'm ready to confront this, I'm ready to deal with this. It's another thing when you get shoved into that situation without a choice and you have to deal with it. Parents that are having to homeschool children who, again, even if you're an entrepreneur, it's navigating, okay, I used to have my normal, which is my schedule that I would deal with my clients. The kids are off at school. I don't have to worry about them for the rest of the day. When they come back from school, then I will deal with them, but at least I have my day to do my work stuff. Now you're not just businesswoman during the day, you're a teacher, you're a coach, you're recreation specialist, you're a therapist, you're everything. You've taken on all these different roles. And not only that, your children have all these different expectations, different levels, different activities. It's all of this put together. Even with, you have to prepare meals. Before you knew that while they're at school, that was taken care of. And now you have a 5-year-old and a 3-year-old and 12-year-old. They're like, Mommy, I'm hungry. And you're trying to get this thing done for work. So a lot of people are dealing with all these emotions and these, it's one thing if you have to do that for a day, a week. But this has been 6 months of this constant, I don't know what's happening next. And being, the body produces a stress hormone that's supposed to help us survive through short periods of stress, that helps us do what we need to do in order to function. It's almost like we suppress what we're feeling and we hide it so that we can do what we need to do. And all the blood, all the energy is going into our hands and our feet and our heart and our lungs to just get through the day. But the body can only sustain that state for so long until we start crashing down, because it starts eating away at us and the stress. So right now what I'm seeing is people are tired. They're exhausted. They're getting to the point where before, if a parent had at least a schedule, they're like, I don't care anymore. Do whatever you want to do. They had their kids on a healthy diet. They're like, you want candy? Here you go, as long as you stop crying, because they're just tired.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that
it's a
you
lot.
described it so well. You described it really, really well. These are the things that I'm seeing. And when you mix that with, interacting with people, yeah, people are on edge. People are on edge. And so I'm so grateful that you're here to be able to walk us through what we can do, to be able to control some of the stress levels, manage the energy better, not be so tired or frustrated, or just learn the better tools on how to deal with it, because even if it is not changing right away, we'll know how to handle it better. And so thank you so much again, and I'll let you go ahead and yeah, you have the floor.
All right. Well, a lot of what I was going to talk about, I've kind of already touched on, but let me just go ahead and share this. And so I titled this Navigating Crisis, Trauma, and Healing as an Entrepreneur. And my objectives with this were four. Number one, to help you understand that you are human, you are not crazy, you are not alone, and that yes, you can get back your life and your business. It might not look like what it looked like before. It might not look like what you perceive it to be, but it is possible. And I wanted to establish that from the get-go. But I wanted also to, like we've already talked about, Jordan, just people understanding that what you went through, what you are going through right now is a crisis, and to expect yourself to just bounce back, because we're survivors. We, especially entrepreneurs, you've dealt with setbacks, you've dealt with bankruptcy, you've dealt with not being able to meet your targets, you've dealt with so many disappointments and so many things so far. But in this situation, because we've become so accustomed to survival and so accustomed to just pushing through, it's so easy to do the same thing even now. But it's important for you to, number one, acknowledge the fact that what you went through over these last 5 months, it was crazy. It was intense. And just understanding that and giving yourself the permission to understand that you've been dealing with something that you've never dealt with before is so important, because it gives yourself a sense of, wow, I'm not crazy, I'm not alone, I'm not the only one dealing with this situation. So I just wanted to look at like a definition of what a crisis is. John Maxwell says that a crisis is an intense time of difficulty requiring a decision that will be a turning point. In this time, in this season, so many of us have been faced with the reality that we've got to make some critical decisions. And sometimes those decisions need to be made on a day-to-day, minute-by-minute, like we're making those decisions all the time, instead of having to make them on a periodic basis. These decisions that we make every single second of every day are critical towards what's going to happen in the future. And so I wanted to do a quick check-in, and let's see, maybe you think you're not in a crisis. Maybe you think that the last couple of months have been a breeze for you. But let's just check out what's happened over the last couple of months. And if you can say yes to any one of these, I want you to go ahead and just type it in the chat or wherever it is and say, or wherever you're going to respond, say, are you experiencing right now an intense time of difficulty that is requiring a decision from you that will be a turning point in your life? Do you need to make some decisions right now? Is it a yes or a no? Number two, have you over the last 6 months experienced, witnessed, or even been confronted with an event or events that involve an actual or threatened death or serious injury or a threat to the physical integrity of yourself or others? Yes, in so many ways, with COVID-19, but also with the reality of what's been happening with the police brutality and all the lives that have been lost over the last couple of months, or the exposure of what has already been going on for such a long time. And number three, has your response to these experiences involved intense fear, helplessness, or horror? If you can say yes to any of these things, then guess what? You have experienced a crisis, you are experiencing a crisis, you have experienced trauma, or you are currently going through that experience. So number one, acknowledge that what you've been through or what you're going through is a crisis and it is traumatic. And I just wanted to, let's do this real quick. So for a lot of us, we need to understand that even our responses right now are also combined with past histories of trauma, that a lot of us have our own things that we've been through in the past. Now, when we add that to what's going on right now, our responses to these situations and how we're responding, it's normal. What you're feeling, what you're going through right now, you're not crazy. And there's nothing about you that's weird. You're just responding normally to a situation that seems and feels completely out of control. The world that we know, the world that we're used to, is not here anymore. It does not exist. And we've been using this term, the new normal. I don't even want to use that, because the world as we know it is continuously evolving and growing, and every single day something else is coming up. So we're learning to deal with a world that's constantly changing without even knowing what normal looks like anymore. For a lot of us, we've learned in our lifetimes that expressing emotion is a bad thing. We've learned that you're not allowed to be sad, you're not allowed to cry, you're not allowed to be angry, you're not allowed to be scared. We've learned over our lives that expressing emotion, expressing feelings is a sign of weakness. And so for so long, we've learned how to hide those things. We've learned how to pretend. We've learned how to, especially within the business field, we've learned that we've got to put on this face. We've got to put on this mask of who we are so that we can keep going on and surviving in this world. But unfortunately, over the last 6 months, so much has come at us that mask has been fractured. That mask that has been removed, and we can't hide anymore what we're really feeling, what we're really experiencing. But the important part is, where are you processing that? Where are you processing the fear? Where are you processing the anger? Where are you processing the sadness that you're experiencing? Because we need to realize that wherever we process, if we process in public, that's there, it's out there forever. We can't take it back. And we need to make sure that the places that we're processing our trauma in are places of safety. They're places where our truth and our experience will be protected and nurtured, and will be provided with a space to heal. If we put ourselves out there and become vulnerable to the public in our expression of our emotion, we don't know, we don't have control over how other people are going to respond to us. So what we do have control over is, who am I choosing to process my pain with? Who am I choosing to process my hurt with? Who am I choosing to process my confusion with? And as an entrepreneur, because whatever you put out is going to stick with you, and not just you, your business, because your image and your presentation of yourself is going to not just affect you, but it's also going to affect your reputation and how people perceive you and your services. And just, it's unfair. Yes, I understand that you're not allowed to do what other people are doing, but that's just the reality of the avenue that you have chosen. And we need to make sure that we guard the gifts and we guard the businesses and the ideas that God has given us, because it is so sacred. What God has given you, your business, your idea, it is so sacred. And unfortunately, when we make a wrong step, it takes a year. It takes years and years to build a reputation. It takes years and years to build trust. But in a second, you can lose it all just like that. So I want to encourage you to find a safe space to process your fear, process your pain, acknowledge that what you're experiencing is real. The second thing was normalize your situation. I just want to go real quick through this. We talked about it briefly, Tradon, when we said that people, when they experience stress, there's 3 responses that we have. It's to fight, to fly, or to freeze. And when we fight, we see everything as a threat. We see everybody as a threat. It might be a slight comment that your husband makes or your child makes, or it might be something that a customer and an employee makes, and you might respond to seeing that as a threat because your senses already elevated and already heightened to threats coming at you. A lot of times, some of the things that make us more vulnerable is the fact that you might be experiencing throughout the course of the day recurrent memories, distressing recollections of these things that have happened. Maybe you went out to the supermarket and somebody was not wearing a mask and they coughed at you, and then you go home and you're going through the whole process of, oh my gosh, I hope they didn't have COVID. Oh my gosh, my children, and all these things. We're processing all that at the same time. And then you're also processing the racism and all those racial stuff. And so there's so much that we're processing throughout the course of the day that that might be causing you sleepless nights. That might be causing you the inability to even relax and let down your guard for a second. Maybe it's something that you're seeing in your children. It might not be you. Maybe you've got it all together, but you're not just processing your own response to this, you're processing that of your family as well and your children. A lot of times we might respond to different situations in the current as though it was something that was happening in the past. Let me stop sharing for a second. A lot of times we sense in our bodies like that tension at the back of your neck, that you're wondering, why in the world is my neck so tense? Or you're feeling these pains at the bottom of your back or in your shoulders, and you're wondering, why can't I sleep at night? Where's this pain coming from? I didn't go to the gym, so I didn't pull a muscle, but there's so much bodily pain that I'm experiencing. For me, it's been like headaches, and it's been just feeling nauseous because I'm sitting in front of Zoom all day, on technology all day, trying to process this new normal that we have right now. And I was sitting with my boss the other day, and I'm like, why am I having these headaches that just refuse to go away? And she's like, you're in front of a screen 10 hours, 12 hours of a day. So it's processing these physiological responses as well. I went to the store the other day, and it was just as things were reopening, and the social distancing wasn't maintained. There wasn't 6 feet between people, and they were coughing. After that, I was like, I'm not going back again. It took me another month or two. I started doing Instacart, and I started getting groceries delivered to my house because I was like, I can't deal with this. The anxiety is too much. And just processing those physiological responses of stress and tension in your body in itself is so important.
That is so true too, because I didn't even realize. I was like, oh, I'll be fine, going to the store, and when things were still like at the height of COVID, and this is probably like a month and a half ago. I'm like, oh, I'll be fine going to the store. I'm just going to the store. I haven't been out of the house in forever. Go to the store, and then I immediately start thinking like, oh my gosh, like, then I'm paying attention to everything. Like, what am I touching? Like, what was here before me? Like, what, like all these thoughts that I never thought before now are consuming my mind as I'm out. I'm like, now I just want to go home. Like, all I want to do is get back home. And so, like you said, like, you don't even realize how your body is going to respond, just trying to get to some sense of, okay, before it was never an issue to go to the store. Now, I have, like you said, anxiety going around just to the store.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So like that in itself, it's like it's the third criteria of PTSD. And I don't want to use that label loosely because I know a lot of people get titled with, you got PTSD, but what we're experiencing is a true response to stress and trauma. Because the third criteria is persistent avoidance of stimuli associated with trauma and the numbing of general responsiveness, which was not present before the trauma. And it says you're either avoiding thoughts, feelings, or conversations associated with the trauma. So are there conversations? Are there feelings? Are there activities and places that you found yourself over the last 6 months avoiding because they trigger certain things in you and certain responses in you that you just don't want to experience? Do you find yourself blocking out certain things? Over the last couple of months, I've heard more than ever before. I don't remember or did you really say that? Or, oh, I'm so sorry, I forgot. Like forgetting things because there's parts of your mind and experiences that you just want to block out. But unfortunately, the brain isn't sometimes as wise as we want it to be because it's controlled by us. And so in blocking certain things, we also block things that we don't want to forget. A diminished interest and or participation in significant activities. Now, that one was just imposed on us, like things that we used to do for recreation, things that we used to do as stress relievers, like going to the gym, going to the park, going to a restaurant, whatever it is that you used to do that brought pleasure to you, that brought excitement or some sense of stress relief has been taken away from us. And we're isolated. It says here, a feeling of detachment or estrangement from others. You might find yourself in your home with your family and looking at them and like, who are these people? Or I feel nothing, like a restricted range of affect, which means I'm in the room, I'm here with my kids, I'm here with my spouse or my partner, but I'm not feeling anything. I just feel numb because we get to a place where we freeze, where we, in order for us to survive, in order for us to function, we start freezing and numbing our emotions and our affect so that we don't experience distress. Of a sense of foreshortened future. How many of you over the last couple of months, and I saw it even when the relief checks came out, when the money was supposed to be something that's supposed to help you sustain you over these, I'm not doing a guilt trip here, but I just wanted to explain this, like that was supposed to help sustain you over this period of losing your job or all this restriction. But people went and bought TVs, people went on, did all kinds of crazy stuff with the stuff that was supposed to be able to help you get food and groceries and necessities.
Right.
And it was because there was a sense of foreshortened future, because you're thinking, I don't know if I'm going to live past this. I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. So why not enjoy today and just do all the things that I wanted to do today? So we're not thinking about the consequences of the choices that we're making, because thinking about the future and thinking about tomorrow just seems too traumatic. So let me just focus on what I can do today and the pleasure I can derive out of today. How many people went and did crazy things that they would not normally have done just because of that sense of foreboding, where you just thought like, okay, the world's going to end, so why not just do it? You know, there's going to be consequences to the choices that I make. So that was the third one. And then the last one is persistent symptoms of increased arousal. Do you find yourself unable to fall asleep, or that you go to sleep and you keep waking up in the middle of the night a couple of times? Has that been happening to you? I know it's been happening with me because there's so many thoughts running through my mind. And because we've been keeping track of the cases of COVID, we've been keeping track of what's going on with the racial issues and the judgments with regards to the cases. We're always on social media. We're always on the news. We're always like, our minds are constantly
overly stimulated.
We can't sleep at night. And when you can't sleep, you wake up and you're a grouchy bear. And so you're irritated by anything that your child says, anything that your partner or spouse says. You can't concentrate or do anything. You're hypervigilant, and somebody comes at you and they're trying to talk to you because of that numbing again. When they go like, hey, I'm talking to you, you react very exaggerately because you're in that sense of that state of constant hyperarousal, hypervigilance. It's crazy. It's hypervigilant, hyperarousal, but at the same time, there's a numbing to that because there's certain elements of thinking and processing that are not activated because the energy and the fuel is being channeled to other areas of your body.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. I'm really glad that you broke it down in this way, because then, you know, the people that are listening, that are watching, can say like, hey, you know, I identify with that. Like, that has been me. Like, I'm the person that's been doing this, or my spouse has been doing that, or that is me. And so One of the things that I love to say, as far as like even my healing journey and my process over the last few years is, you know, as things come up, I've built enough tools in my toolbox so that I can know how to process them properly so I can work through them. And so what do you feel like the most important tools in the toolbox that people should be building up right now so that they are able to, you know, manage a bit better?
So the reason that I started with this today was because I'm going to share this quote real quick. And it talks about how, all right, there we go. So I shared all this stuff because I wanted you to understand that you're not alone. And I wanted you to understand you're not crazy. Because this
Yes.
quote says, when we feel understood, when we show our true selves, flaws and all, in turn, to other people are also more likely to be vulnerable and honest with us. And this will help us connect on a deeper level, improving the quality of our relationships. But I wanted to share that because I wanted people to understand that the first thing that you need to know is that what you're feeling is understood.
Mm-hmm.
And other people in your life also need to understand that you understand what they're going through. You might not get it completely, but you're trying to. And so
Yeah.
the first thing that I wanted to do as a toolbox, there was this exercise I wanted us to do just for a few seconds. And I was going to ask us all to just for a moment, just sit where you are, put your feet firmly on the ground, and to wiggle your toes and your fingers so that you actually feel them. Because a lot of times, we lose touch with our own bodies because we are in that place of numbing. So sit up straight, place your feet on the floor, and then place your palms of your hand firmly on your knees. And close your eyes and take a deep breath and hold it there for 10 seconds. And then let it out slowly. I'm going to do that 2 more times. Let's take a deep breath in. Hold it. And let it out slowly. One more time. Take a deep breath in. Hold it. Let it out slowly. All right, with your eyes still closed, I want you to take a moment to do a check-in with yourself. And so this is my first tool, is to be mindful and check in with yourself without judgment. And so this is what I want you to say to yourself. Self, what are you feeling right now?
Out loud or in my head?
In your head.
Okay.
Respond in your head. Just ask yourself, self, what are you feeling right now? And with no judgment, if self responds and says, I'm feeling angry, or I'm feeling tired, or I'm feeling stressed, just acknowledge that feeling. No judgment. The second question I want you to ask is, self, why are you feeling this way? And you can respond. Give yourself a few minutes to respond to that. And just listen to yourself. And then the last question I want you to ask yourself is, self, what do you need from me today to help you process what you're feeling right now? Allow yourself to respond to this question, and remember that the response doesn't have to be profound. It can be as simple as, I need you to let me take a nap for 30 minutes today. Or I need a caramel frappe from McDonald's. Now take a deep breath. Hold it again for 10 seconds. And let it go slowly. You can open your eyes. So incorporating that into our lives, just a mindful check-in with ourselves, where we're not judging our emotions, where we're not judging what we're thinking and feeling, and we're just saying, hey, I hear you. If nobody else hears you, you hear yourself, that you're acknowledging yourself, that you are paying attention to yourself. Just that in itself makes a huge difference. And when yourself says, okay, I need a caramel frappe from McDonald's, go ahead and give yourself that caramel frappe from McDonald's. But do listen to your body, listen to your mind, listen to your soul, to what it's asking you for. And it's a lot of times it's not complicated. Yourself is not going to say to you, hey, I need $1 million. Sometimes it's the basic needs. Sometimes it's, I need a glass of water. You've been sitting at this desk for 4 hours nonstop. I need you to get up and move around a bit, because I'm tired. Just listening, checking in. And it doesn't even, this took like less than 5 minutes to just check in with your body, check in with yourself, to say, what is it that you need from me? What are you feeling? What are you experiencing right now? Being mindful. That's the first thing. The second thing.
Good. That was good. I hope you guys took notes on that. I hope you wrote down the questions somewhere. I hope you guys are really absorbing what she's saying, because she is giving you tools for your toolbox that you can use when things arise. So thank you. Go ahead.
No problem. All right. So I saw this and I thought it was really profound. And that's kind of what we just did. Is the perfect way to reset and refocus is to simply take a pause. And it's crazy how simple and basic that is, but we still don't give ourselves the permission to do that. It doesn't take even 5 minutes, but we often don't give ourselves the permission to pause. We're so on the go. And just taking that 5 minutes in the middle of your day will make such a huge difference. Just try it, I promise you. The second thing is to give yourself permission to grieve for what was. That's huge. We have gone through so much loss and so much change, but we've just been surviving and functioning. So that one was really huge for me, is take a moment to actually, I love journaling. I haven't been doing it as much as I need to be doing it, but just take a moment with a journal or a piece of paper and just write down, acknowledge again the things that have changed in your life, the things that have changed in your world. Put it down on paper. Make it a reality that you actually look at and face and say, and acknowledge it and grieve for it. Allow yourself to grieve and say, I am grieving for this loss and this change in my life. I miss the fact that I can't hang out with my friends. I miss the fact, I'm grieving over the fact that I can't go to the gym like I used to. I'm grieving the fact that I can't go to my favorite restaurant. I'm grieving, like, I went to a store the other day. I'm not going to use names, but I was so excited because I thought my friend and I could go get some deco for our church space. And we went in there and the store was literally empty. Like, there was no deco. We could not buy one single item because there was nothing there. And I was literally grieving. My heart was broken because it's one of my favorite stores to go and shop for deco.
Yeah.
And I had to give myself a moment to grieve the fact that what was my normal, what was my life, no longer exists right now. And then to be okay with the fact that you're not okay. You're not okay with the fact that things have changed. But you've got to give yourself that permission to first acknowledge what's changed and grieve. That's so important. For a lot of us, even some of the major losses for myself over the last week, I've had 2 major deaths. And I had to literally say to my boss yesterday and to my husband, I need to take some, I don't have enough vacation time, because when COVID came in and we weren't able to meet our productivity, we had to use vacation time, even though it wasn't our fault. We had to use vacation time to compensate for not meeting productivity. And so I had to make a decision that I need to take some unpaid time off, because I'm not processing. I'm so busy processing my client's grief that I am not taking time to process mine. And now I'm noticing myself being irritable with my customers, not having the patience to deal with their stuff, because
Yeah.
I'm not processing my own stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's huge, especially as an entrepreneur, because I know that there have been times where it's just like, okay, you put yourself on the back burner. Even just as a woman, you put yourself on the back burner for your spouse or for your kids. If you're an entrepreneur, you put it on the back burner for your clients, and then you look up and realize, like, I am empty. I don't even have anything left to give. And so I think it's so important. And this is something that I practice in my own life. It's so important to be able to you have to put yourself as a priority. I do know and understand, though, too, because I do talk to my friends that they're just not able to. Some of them have newborn babies. Some of them, with the kids being out of school with no summer activities, they're at home constantly 24/7 with the kids, or, handling these responsibilities, or they had to put their business on the back burner so they feel like they're not walking in their purpose. And so, even for those situations, how would you tell someone, in that type of situation, how to be able to put themselves first so that they can process for themselves, so that they can have enough to pour into their kids, or their spouse, or business, or the other things, when they feel like they don't have any time to do that?
I think if there's one thing that COVID has taught us that I'm really grateful for, is that there's so many things that we think are essential and necessary that
Mm-hmm.
really aren't.
Yeah.
And that when we need to also learn how to ask for help.
Mm-hmm.
I had to pick up the phone and say to my husband, I can't do this anymore. I'm empty. I'm done. Like, I'm done. I had
Yeah.
to say to my boss. And that's another thing, is putting aside our pride, because a lot of time it's our pride in this. And I'm not saying that as judgment or condemnation. I'm saying that as truth, that sometimes we take so much pride in our ability to be superwoman and to be
Mm-hmm.
superman and to be able to manage everything, that we feel that if we say to someone, I'm not coping, I need
Mm-hmm.
help, that it's a sign of weakness or disappointment or failure.
Yeah.
But listen, if you die, because that's what stress will eventually do to you, if you die, we're going to miss you, and the world's going to miss your gift.
Mm-hmm.
There's going to
Oh,
be a
that was
gap.
good. That was so good.
There's going to be a gap in this world because you didn't fulfill what you were called and created to do. So ask for help. Admit that you need help, and admit that you can't do it. And I promise you, as you realize, as you ask for help, you'll find that there's so many things that you can eliminate, so many things that are unnecessary that you can cut out, that will make your life so much simpler. And that as you ask for help, people will pull resources together to actually help you and give you the help you need, whether it's with
Yes.
kids. And it's not complicated. You're not asking for a vacation for like a whole month or a week on some island somewhere. You're
Yeah.
saying, I need, and that's also, it's communicating very clearly. If you do that check-in with yourself,
Mm-hmm.
that 5-minute check-in, and you ask yourself, and you ask self, what do you need right now? And when you find out what it is that you need, you communicate that need, and you say to your spouse or your partner or whoever it is, or your mom or your aunt, like, I need 24 hours. Just give me 24 hours. When you identify what it is that you need, 24 hours, I just need to sleep. That's all I need.
Yeah.
People will pull around you. And if you communicate and express that need, they will pull around you to make sure, okay, someone will take the kids, someone will make sure they're fed. You
Mm-hmm.
just go check into your room. Maybe you can't do it at home with all your kids around. Someone will come take the kids. Or maybe you can leave the kids at home with your husband and go stay someone's room in someone's house and just sleep. If
Mm-hmm.
that's what you need. But first of all, you need to check in with yourself and see what it is that you need in this moment.
Mhm.
My second point was to write a list of some of the things in psychology we call it distress tolerance. When you understand that the situation that you're in cannot be changed, that's a distressing situation. And right now, one of the most important things that we can do for ourselves is say, this is what it is. It's acknowledging the present, acknowledging the situation that is right now. And acknowledging that situation, it's not saying that you condone it, that it's okay. It's not saying that you agree with it, but it's accepting that it is what it is, and you are not going to be spending and expending energy on trying to change it right now in this moment. What
Yeah.
you are going to do is you're going to write down a list of things that you need to be able to function and manage what is your now. What do you need in order to heal? Just
Yeah.
like a person who's gone through an accident or undergone a major surgery. Listen, what we've been through in the last 6 months has been worse than that because there's been so much change and turmoil. Why do we expect ourselves to return back to work or to normal immediately when we've been through all this stuff? Come on,
Yeah.
we need to give ourselves some grace and understand and appreciate what we've been through over these last couple of months and allow ourselves the grace and the space to heal properly so that our wounds don't reopen and become septic and begin to cause infection and worse situations in our lives. You aren't responsible for the accident. You aren't responsible for the fact that you had to have major surgery, but you are responsible for your healing process. Only you can make sure that you heal properly by making sure that you follow the directions of whoever your doctor is. And maybe that's you. Maybe you need to be a doctor to yourself and acknowledge to yourself the things that you need to do in order to heal. So write down a list. It doesn't have to be something complicated. It might just be, I need 30 minutes to just soak in the tub. I need 20 minutes to get on the treadmill, or whatever it is. Be specific about what those things are that you need in this moment, in this season, to help you
Yeah.
tolerate the distress that you're experiencing right now, and tap into your 5 senses. And that's part of the mindfulness component. It's, what do I need to be, because remember we said that trauma numbs us, right? So we need to tap back in. We need to tap back in with reality. And part of that is, what do I need so that my sight senses are heightened again? What do I need so that my smell senses are heightened again? What do I need so that my touch and my hearing and my smelling, all these senses that we have are so important. And when we numb ourselves and we just keep on going without touching back in with our bodies and our spirits and our minds, at some point that's going to lead to sickness and disease and even ultimately death if we don't tap back in. So I want to encourage
Yeah.
tap, and it's not complicated. It can be something as simple as, I need to take a walk in nature so that I can listen to the birds, listen to the wind. I need to
Yes.
be able to sit on the porch after it rains and smell the earth after rain. It can be something as simple as you're eating your favorite dessert, or playing in the mud. Go out and play with the kids and dance
Yeah.
in the rain. Like, listen to your favorite podcast. Listen to something that refreshes and renews your spirit. And I
Yeah.
want to make sure I don't end without going to this one. This one's really important. This was my last point.
Okay.
Before my last point. After you've taken the time to heal yourself and make sure you tap in and check in with yourself, communicate what you need, and actually do those things that you need for yourself. Ask for help, right? I want to encourage you to do this one thing. Take 10 to 15 minutes at your most productive time of the day. And this might be different for different people. Some people are night owls, some people are early birds, whatever works best for you. Some people work best, their most productive time is during noon. I want you to take 10 to 15 minutes where you pick up your journal and you give yourself time to dream. Call it dream time. And in those 10 to 15 minutes, just dream about your business, dream about your life, no limitations, no strings attached. Just go wild. And the first few minutes, the first few times you try it, it might be really hard because you've numbed yourself so much to just functioning and surviving. And one of the things that trauma does is that it kills off the parts of our brains that are creative, that are able to problem solve. So by doing this activity for 10 to 15 minutes every day, whether you feel like it or not, and just allowing yourself to dream with no pressure, don't talk about what can't work, just sit and write and dream. Go wild.
Yes.
Doing that, cultivating that over a daily basis is going to help you start being creative again. It's going to help you start generating ideas and concepts again. It's going to help you be able to be productive and problem solve in your business again. And that's so important because, listen, the world needs you. The world needs your gift. The world needs you to be productive. And all these attacks and oppositions that have been coming against you right now, the enemy isn't after. He doesn't just want to kill you. He doesn't just want to bother you and disturb you. He wants to kill you because he doesn't want your seed to be released into this world. He doesn't want what God purposed for your life to be released into this world. As long as he can keep you distracted by all the pain and the turmoil that you're experiencing, he's good. He wants you busy, but he wants you busy with everything except what you were supposed to do with your life. Because as long as you're doing that, you're not a threat to him. But the moment you step into your purpose and do what you were created to do, you are a threat to him because that means you're here to destroy his works. So I want to encourage you to do whatever it takes to heal, because as you heal, as you allow yourself to heal, your creativity, your productivity is going to be so much better. And God's going to be able to release through you. Listen, even in biology, when you are stressed out, you can't conceive. And so it's no different in the spirit, in our minds, in our creativity. When we are stressed out, it's so hard to create and generate new ideas and new concepts and even problem solve with current situations. So I want to encourage you to do whatever it takes to heal. Take those few minutes. The world will not fall apart, I promise you. The world will not fall apart if you take some time to heal yourself. You might if you don't.
That's so true. That's so true. I come to find out that the healing journey is one of the single most important journeys that you can take, in your life, because once you heal, it transforms everything going forward. So that's so good.
So my last statement would be, let's see. Your greatest comeback to the attacks and opposition coming against you is to be fully and wholly you. You are needed and necessary. Walking in your purpose requires an acceptance of who you are and what you are going through so that you can go on to be what you were meant to be. What we deny and refuse to acknowledge and address about ourselves will inevitably become our downfall. Your greatest contribution to the cause, whatever that cause is to refuse to allow what was meant to destroy you to have the final say. Doesn't mean the perpetrator goes free. It just means that what they did is not the final decree in your life.
Yes.
Because you choose to rise above it. So, yeah. That was all.
This was amazing. Amazing, because what you have shared, you are giving people what they need to start where they are, use what they have, and transform and create a new, because we're not going to say a new normal, because like you said, nothing is the same as it was before. We're going to say just create a new, a new mindset, a new way of doing, a new way of being right now, because it is all of these things. And this podcast is called Ideas That Shape the World, because I'm so passionate for people to understand that it is you have to heal and be in a space to receive ideas, because your ideas are given to you and you are a steward over the idea so that you can help continue to move the world forward, because we're shifting into a new world and you have your part. And so the world, like you said, the world is waiting for you to play your part, and you have to be in a healthy mental, emotional, physical space to play the part that you're given and have the idea and use it to help move the world forward so that it can help all the people around you, and the people that they touch, and so on and so forth. So I want to thank you so much, because this was so valuable. It was so valuable. It was so needed. You are such an asset. You walking in your calling is such an asset. And I'm really grateful that you were able to share that with all of us.
Thank you for the opportunity. And
No
thank you for what you were doing to make sure that we stay on track.
No problem at all. So how can people find you? How can they connect with you if they're like, Dr. Miriam, I have to connect with you. Where are you? So tell them how they can get a hold of you.
All right. I actually did this time. So you can get a hold of us on this. Our website is destinyconnections.com. Don't forget the dash in between. And you can email us at connect@destiny-connections.com. You can find us on Facebook at Destiny Connections and Instagram at Destiny Connections LLC. The handle is Destiny Connections 17 if you are looking for it.
All right. Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate you sharing today, especially for this this special series. The series is near and dear to me because I want to see people prosper and be in good health as their soul prospers. And so my core values, my core beliefs is that people should have alignment, profit, and freedom. And so the alignment piece, I put that first because that is the first thing. One of my favorite scriptures is seek ye first the kingdom, and all these things will be added unto you. But also in Luke, it also says that the kingdom is within you. So the kingdom being within you means that you have to work within you to heal these things in order for all of the other things to be added onto that. And so this has been another great episode. If you guys have not already, on all of our platforms, make sure that you're subscribing, make sure that you're sharing, on Apple, on Google, on Spotify, on YouTube, all the places that we are online, iHeartRadio, wherever you're listening from, make sure that you subscribe, make sure that you share, make sure you leave a comment, and just let us know, how this has helped you during this series. And so, if you want to see other episodes or other episodes from the series or other episodes from the podcast, make sure you go to www.ideasthatShapeTheWorld.com. And then, until next time, thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching, and we will see you soon.